Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Skaven Plays. I have something a little different for you today. I'm going to put all these new units and all the old ones on a tier list for not how good they are per se, but how good their points need to be for them to see play. I believe every single unit in this book right now is playable, except for maybe one. But it all depends on the points and how many other things are fighting for the points. So I'm just going to go down, put everything in where I think it needs to be. I've been practicing a few games with the new Nurgle already. I've kind of went through every single unit, made a list of what they used to be and what they should be in the new book. Whether that's real or not, we don't know. There was a quote-unquote points leak, but that points leak was already said to be fake. And if those points come out that way, we are going to be in a criminally strong position. So I don't think we'll be as good as those points leak do. If we are, I'll be pleasantly surprised, and I'll enjoy having a very good time getting nerfed a few times. But yeah, just going to go down every unit here in order. First one is the Rotmeyer Creed, our old fodder unit. Nice shooting. It's still a good unit. The problem is it now has competition. It used to be something you would throw in there, you wanted a fodder screen or a little pick damage. Now you have pox wretches who do the same thing. And it's a problem for them. They cost 130 points. I don't see that changing. If anything, maybe lose 10 or about the same. I don't see it changing. I'm going to be putting this one at needs good points because it's less their points that need to matter. It's more everything else around it if it's going to have a spot. Honestly, this might be a year where they kind of go on the wall, which is sad because I do love them, but there's other options now and it's competitive. All right, next one is the Rotbringer Sorcerer. He's priced at, I believe, 120. I think he's 120. Let me go check, actually. Age of Index. Nurgle. Source. 110. Yeah, 110. So, of the different budget wizards, he's the one that goes in the mortal slot. He's extremely good for 110. Even at 120, he'd be very good. But being our best foot option is a foot option. So I'm going to put him at moderate points. He's worth using. If you have the extra slot and you just want another caster, you can't afford Bloab, or you're not going another monster, he's worth it. Especially next to Rodigus. Which we're going to put the new Rodigus in right now. He's at 430 right now for both of the other scrolls. If he stays the same, he will be excellent. Even if he goes up, he'll be worth it. That anti-healing bubble is huge. The Plick Mortals are just nice. The healing is okay, but you're really there for the anti-healing bubble. It makes all the death matchups amazing. Trolls are nice and easy. It helps with so many different things. It's wonderful. Also, it stops things like Altharion's Revive. If you hit him with that, he can't revive because he can't heal the damage. Helpits can't heal. The Sylvaneth artifact can't heal and resurrect. It's extremely strong. I think it's going to be firmly one of the best models in this new army. Spoiler, there's two things I put above it, I believe. Maybe. I might change my mind when I get to it. Alright, next I have the Lord of Affliction. Still strong. Still good. I don't know if he's going to make any lists. Just because we have so many other options now. Before, he was kind of the budget Demon Prince you would do. But now we have an actual Demon Prince who I think is going to be cheaper than the ROR, who has some nice abilities. But he's still a good holder of Avalanche. I'm just going to put him here. Needs good points to be viable. If he's the cheapest version, you need him to fit. He'll do the job. He'll work. He's still a strong scroll on himself. They did nerf his Plague Vector, so you can't spam them anymore, which was a meme. Even though it was a strong meme, it was still a meme. So, needs good points. Let's see. Pusco Butlers. Let's just do those right now, because we just did Lord of Affliction. They need to be very cheap. They did get a change in their War Scroll. They do now get +1 rend on anything contesting any objective, which is good. And they're not bad. The problem is, at 220, which is what they currently are, they're still a little pricey for what they're doing. They're going to be less damage than your Rot Swords. They're going to be about on par with King damage for survivability-wise after they take a punch in the gut anyway. I'd say if they drop down to like 190, then they'll be nice and spammable. If they go anything lower than that, then it's insane. I think they need a little bit of help, but overall right now, they're not too good for the new book, I don't think, especially with all the other options we got. And again, everything here, it's not that, like, there's only 2 things in this book that I would call straight bad right now. Everything else has a spot. Everything has a use. It's just, how expensive are they, and how many other things are they fighting points for? There's a lot of slots we have with a lot of different jobs in there now. Or a lot of different jobs, but you can only fit so many people in that job in a list. So we'll see how it all shapes out in the end, how the actual points go, and it'll be very interesting. The Great Unclean One. His new changes is his resurrection got better. It's a command point now. He resurrects from a Gnarl Maw, which means you can do some shenanigans with it. It's very good. Still a 2-caster. He lost his Nurglings, which is very unfortunate. He's at, I want to say, like 460. It's been a while since I've used a Google. Yeah, he's at 460. I think if he stays at 460, he won't be used very much. If he goes down even a little, like drop him 20 points, I think he'll be good. I'm going to put him up here, ahead of the Rotbringer Sorcerer. I think he's still strong. He's good at holding enhancements. He's the best holder of Fibro Frenzy because of how big the aura is going to be. And I think he has a lot of builds that he'll do well in. The Plague Bearer build, which is a real build. I've tried it once already, and it is very good. I enjoyed it. Nurglings. These are a new scroll. I was extremely excited about them in my review. I completely forgot that they can only recur once, even though I think they're extremely good. They're 100 points now? 100 or 110. Should have pulled up some of these before I started recording. But I was excited, and the baby's in the other room, so I have time. Yeah, 100 points. If they stay at 100, they'll be wonderful and excellent, but they need to stay low. They're a wonderful little piece. I've used them to steal objectives. There's actually a video coming out that I stole the objective with, and it didn't win the game, but put me far enough ahead. I had a good leg up. Wonderful little harass unit. Good at being annoying in the way. Horticulus. Currently 140, but he got completely changed. He now only can spawn 1 extra tree, but he can teleport your trees. The trees are more important than ever before now. They give you extra rally dice. You can make Plague Bearers 10 rally dice. Your mortals rely on them for your ward. In certain builds, I don't think he's an auto-include, but he's a real hard fighter for some of these spots. If you're doing a lot of Rot Swords or a lot of mortals or the Magathords, if you're taking more than one Magathord or a Magathord and a Maggotkin, I think you almost require to have him. Unless it's Blow Up, who can kind of stay in the back. But he's going to make so many different lists. He's an extremely good unit. I'm going to put him here. Even if he's a little high, he's still going to make lists. Actually, I'm going to change this. Switch this to, because his ability is so good for mortal lists, specifically. If you're running a demon list, you're not going to use him. His ability to resurrect beasts are nice, but it's not as good, because the next unit, Beast, which we'll go over right now, got nerfed heavily. If they stay at their current points, you'll bring 1 or 2. But the fact that they can't all countercharge every turn now hurts them a lot. And they can't get any cheaper. They're already really cheap. I don't know. The fact that they made this once per turn per army really hurt. And I think that it might put them not back on the shelf, but you're only going to bring 1 or 2. You're never going to spam them. I'm going to put them down here. The fact they can be revived is still good. They need to stay at where they are for points. If they stay where they are, you're still going to bring 1 or 2 of them in a list with Horty. But if they go up, no. And if you're playing Plague Cyst, you're going to want them, because they're just a nice, easy thing to throw in the middle, and then they're wholly within 12 of your mortals. is going to make a lot of lists, but it needs to not go up. If they go up, it's really sad. Bile Piper. Only in certain lists. I want him to go down to like 80 or 90. I believe he's 100 or 110 right now, one of the two. Bile Piper. Yeah, he's 100. If he stays at 100, fine, he'll make a couple list, but he needs to go down to 80 or 90. His ability is a lot worse than what it was. It used to be the -1 to hit, no ward, +1 to wound. Now it's the same effect as the Nesh Mirror. If you run away from it, you take D3. If you teleport away, you take D3. Or it's +2 to charge. But the thing is, you have to beat your control score to be +2 to charge. So you're going to get it automatically on Plague Bears, automatically on Nurglings. You're never getting it on a Guo unless you roll a 5 up, because Guos are still 5, right? You're never getting on Rodigus because Rodigus is 10. Yeah, Guos are still 5. So on a 5 up, you can put it on one of the Demon Princes. You can put it on a Guo, which is nice and it's good. And if you're in that position, go for it. I mean, his ability is once per turn of the hero phase. I have found one list that I think he is an auto-include in. And we can go over that right now, actually. It's the Cankerborn. Cankerborn and Gelgus. You only need a 2-up on the D3 to give the Cankerborn +2 to charge. Gelgus marks a piece of terrain that you're near. The Cankerborn teleport to that piece, and then they have a 7-inch charge. With 8 attacks, 3's 3's, 1 rend, 3 damage, I think it is, with Crit Mortal. It's extremely strong. The only problem with these two units here, I'm a little bit worried about their points, and I'm going to package them together. Because you could take Cankerborn without Gelgus, but you're probably not taking Gelgus without Cankerborn. Gelgus is a strong fighter. I don't think he'll be as expensive as the ROR. I've been practicing him as he's the same price as the ROR, but I think he'll be a little cheaper. I think he'll probably be 240, maybe 220. If he's anything higher than 260, I don't think he'll make a cut from any of this at all. Cankerborn, what did I put Cankerborn at? Cankerborn. Where are you? I put you on my list. Yeah, I put them at 230. Honestly, 230 is high. I don't think they'll be 230. But when I made my list of points, I put everything higher than I thought they would be because I don't want to practice with low points and then have to take stuff out of the army. I'd rather be pleasantly surprised and get to, ooh, I get another unit, or ooh, I can add this on the spell. It's just, better to not get disappointed with things if something does go the other way. And let's be honest, if we're playing with Nurgle, we're kind of used to playing with expensive pieces. It's something that might be a little overcosted. I remember I was still putting Glockhead in every list when he was 700 points. But I'm going to put these two at the top of this tier. Nothing will move them. They are probably the best units at this tier. They need good points. But if they get those good points, you're going to be using them in so many lists. The teleport on the Cankerborn is amazing. You take one turn to set it up with Gelgus' thing, then you set up with their thing. They can teleport out of combat, rally them next turn, send them back in, and they're 6 wounds apiece, but you can get 3 extra rally dice on them. So you can roll, 9 dice? Yeah, you're probably not getting one back, but you're probably healing the other one to full. And there's a chance, you never know. We roll wards like that sometimes, so it can happen. Poxbringer. He's going in this one because he fits only one list. If you're trying to put an extra caster in, you're putting in the Rotbringer Sorcerer. If you have a lot of Plague Bears, then you're playing him. He goes on the Plague Bear list. In fact, where's the Scrivener too? Right there. Also, only the Plague Bear list. These guys all need to stay about what they are. Maybe even Scrivener go down. I think is he 80? He's 80 or 90. He should be 80 if he isn't. Scrivener. Yeah, he's 80. He should stay at 80. Bile Piper should probably go to 90 or 80. And the caster one could probably stay at 100, 110. That would be fine. But these three only go in Plague... Well, these two only go in Plague Bear builds. This one wants Plague Bear builds, but it can also go into any list that has these two. Plague Bear lists are strong right now. Scrivener is definitely the weakest one, because I believe he gives just +1 to wound, or I think it's 5 control. Yeah, +1 to wound or 5 control, and he has a shooting attack that, let's be honest, isn't going to do anything. It's 7-inch range. You need to do damage to a monster. They wasted ink putting that there, I think. You might play this 20 games and that'll come up 3 times. Which, I mean, if it does, great. But I don't know. +1 to wound is nice if you're going for the Plague Bear hit, because then you can make the Plague Bears +3 attacks, +1 from Frenzy and +1 from Poxbringer. It's fine. It's if you're taking lieutenants and you have 3 open spots, you'll take all 3. If not, you're just going to take the Bowel Piper and the Poxbringer. You're not touching the Scrivener, which is sad. I remember he used to be the auto-include in every single Plague Bear list back in the day from the buffs he gave. Speaking of another personally certain list, Lord of Blights. He's probably one of the bigger losers of this new book. He gives anti-charge to himself or drones, which typically you're not putting him in a list that has drones, because he used to want to support mortals. Now he just wants to support Blight Kings, who got nerfed heavily. I mean, his scroll is still decent. He still fights. I believe so. Yeah, he still got his 4 attacks at 3 damage with anti-charge. It's still good, but this ability, which he had before, now it just affects drones as well, is just a cherry on top. It's nice. This ability's bad. Within 3, and then on 3 up ignore modifiers. There is exactly one scenario I thought of where that could be good, and that's if you put him, Gut Rot, and a unit of Kings all in Deep Strike, and then you just put them there to try and harass an enemy caster, which is a thing you can do. It's a meme. If you're against a spellcaster heavy meta, maybe. Hold on, I need a drink. But even then, like, there's better things you could do. You could put a Rot Sword in there. Like, I don't think Kings are as terrible as everybody does. Going to 3-up save to 5-up is terrible. Don't get me wrong. And their unique ability, I don't think is good enough, personally. But their damage is still there. They're not going to be spammable anymore, obviously. But yeah, no. Lord of Blights only wants to go with Kings. And we've been talking about Kings, so I'm just going to put them here. They are probably the bottom of this tier. If they stay at 190, they won't be touched. They'll go on the shelf permanently. If they drop to like 170, 180, even 160. What did I put them at? Kings. I put them at 160, is what I feel they should be. At 160, they'll be wound efficient. They'll still do a good bit of damage with a little bit of tech. If they'll probably be around 170 to 200 is what I think they'll be. Well, not 200. I can't see them being more expensive. Probably 170 to 190. They're not as bad as everybody wants to say. They are completely power crept and overshadowed by Rot Swords now. But if they're cheaper than Rot Swords, and they're cheap enough, I think they can still be played. The ability is going to be one of those things that, like, oh yeah, I can do this, it's fine. But, I don't know, if it's cheap enough, it's just an efficient war scroll. Something to spam, some fodder. Alright, next one. Drones. Drones will go right here above the Pusquells. They're still a cheap skirmish unit. They're at 170 or 180. Drones? I believe it's 170. Yep, 170. I think they should stay about where they are. Nothing really changed for them. They still do the same job. They're still fast skirmish. They're annoying. The problem is we have things competing for that spot now. Like, if you're running Horde, you're putting a couple of beasts in. That takes their spot. If you're running the Slaven Knights, that takes their slot. If you're running extra casters or something, it takes the points they want. They were never the unit that you built the list around. They were always the tech piece that you put in on the side. So, if they stay at 170, which I think they should, they're worth 170. They are. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a list where you're not going to want to upgrade to Slaven Knights, or you're not going to put something that does more support for you. It's still a good scroll. It's a strong unit. You don't use it to kill things. You use it to harass, be annoying, and steal points. I love them on life routes where you just run them in the back and steal points and get a model back. Still a good unit, but it just fights for too many spots now. Actually, you know, I'm gonna move this up here. This will be the bottom of this tier. Yeah. Still does what they do. Plague Bears. Our staple unit, 140 points. Has more support now. Lost -1 to hit and shooting, but gained -1 to hit on all objectives, which I think is better because it also works for the combat phase. You have to be more defensive with them, kind of. You can still march them up the middle, take your opponent's objective with a good charge, and plus Bile-Pepper giving them +2 to charge, I think is excellent. I'm putting them at this tier. They're probably our best all-around cheap fodder unit right now for what they do. It's not a screen that's going to get killed. It's a line that's going to sit there, grind for a turn or two. There's not a lot of things that'll wipe out a group of 20 of these in one go. They are more durable than the pock stretches. Less durable than rot swords, granted, but they're probably going to be a lot cheaper. At least they really should be a lot cheaper. And if you want to go the spam build, 40 of those, a Guo, you bring these two so that you can give them +2 to charge and +1 attacks. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I love Plague Bears. They're probably still one of my staple units in here. Old Festus is not here anymore. Maggotkin. Alright, so the changes to the Maggotkin. His control score doesn't minus by 3 anymore. Now it minuses by 5. His spell will give you disease if you take damage from it, which is excellent. And his damages got changed from D3 +3 to 5s, and then the scythes got changed from 2s to 3s. So he's the same basically, he just got better in every way. And this is my personal bias here. I'm 100% saying this is my personal bias, because he is my favorite unit in the book. And they just made him better. I'm putting him up here. He's what, 510 right now? 500? Somewhere around there? If he goes up to 540, I'll probably still play him. I think he's excellent. He's worth his points. Most of my practice games I've done are with him and Rodriguez on the same list. And I've won all of those, and he has been a key part of that. Especially with his new buddies, the Slaven Knights, who I'll do next. All you do is you put up the Maggotkin, and then you hug him with Slaven Knights. And that is a big circle of, you can't charge me, or you're going to strike last and eat a Maggotkin to the face. On a 2-up. It's amazing. Love the Maggotkin. He's up here. As my personal bias, he's probably still up here, but probably down here. But yeah, he's amazing. Running out of breath. Sorry, give me a moment. Nice water. Alright, Slaven Knights. I'll do those next since we were just talking about them. Their damage is a bucket of okay. It is not amazing. You're not going to reinforce them and just run them down somebody's throats. You just aren't. You can. But unless you all-out attack them every single turn, then you're going to be disappointed. Which is unfortunate, because a lot of people I think were hoping these would be Varangard. I point predicted them to be close to Varangard, even with their stuff. What did I put them at? Let's see. Slaven Knights. I put them at 220 for 3. Are they going to be 220? Probably not. They should probably realistically be at 200-ish. The main problem with that is if these and the Puscoil Blightlords are near the same price, you're never taking the Puscoil Blightlords again. You're just not. These are better in every way. They have an unconditional strike last on a 3-up. If you're near another Rotbringer, it's a 2-up. That's amazing. Their damage is 3 damage with 2 rend, which is nothing we have in our book outside of monsters. I think this is probably going to be one of our best new units. I recommend everybody get just 3. If you really like them, get 6 to 9. I wouldn't go more than that, unless these guys are criminally undercosted. If these guys are anywhere below 200, you can probably go ahead and spam them, and it'll be stupid. I think it's extremely good. I've been practicing them with high points for a reason. They can be good even if the points are high. And it's not even the damage they can do. They can do some damage. It's that strike last. The ability to control that is one thing our army didn't really have, in abundance anyway. It's so good. It's so nice. I love it. Alright. Gut Rot. He's so good. He does the same thing as he did before. He'll bring a group of Rotmire Creed, or that thing I mentioned with the Kings and a Lord of Blights. The thing is, we don't need it as hard as we used to. We've got the knights now. We've got the Cankerborn that can teleport. And those are, especially the Cankerborn, competes directly with him for his job. Granted, if you bring him and Cankerborn, you're just going to make your opponent have to think a lot, and it's funny. And I'm probably going to do that for a video, in all honesty. That'll be a fun video. But he's still good. If he stays at his points, which is 140 or 130. Should have looked up more of these points. The units I use a lot, I have memorized. I think he's 140. 130. Okay, yeah. If he stays at this point, I think he's still an excellent tech piece. The main problem for him is that he's fighting for spots with all these other heroes. But I think he's still good at good points. If his points don't change, he's going to make a fair amount of lists. Not every list, but a fair amount. Worth taking. Alright. Where are the rot swords? Are these the rot swords? Those are the pox wretches. These are the rot swords. Alright. I'm going to do these two next because they are a package deal. Rot swords and the Lord of Plagues. They go together now. Lord of Plagues gives them +1 attack and +1 to wound while they're wholly within 12 and haven't charged. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing. It's haven't charged. That doesn't mean you can't be the one to go into combat this turn. You can run into a terrain piece. You can run into an endless spell that doesn't have a movement characteristic and then pile into something. There's different ways to cheat it in different scenarios. And if not, you sit up on a point and make your opponent hit you. And then you put a group of Slava Knights behind them and make them strike last. I think that Rot Swords are probably the most broken unit in this book right now. Points depending. There was a leak that came out. That was a fake leak, but it turned they were putting them at like 190 or something like that. What did I put them at? I put them at 210 for a brick of 10, which I think is still extremely strong. I would use them at 210. I wouldn't spam them. I'd probably bring 40 of them at most. Even then, it's still extremely strong. They're good value for what they are. You will want Hordy to be moving a tree around, but that's fine. These guys are going straight up here. Probably above the knights, actually. Oop, baby's coming in. Hold on. But they are an extremely strong unit. And probably the best thing in the new book. By at least 20, I'd say. Even if they're high, they're still going to be good. Alright, all three Megathords. Orgots and Morbidex stayed the same roughly. Morbidex lost the crit mortals, but he gained movement shenanigans. I don't know how valuable that is. These guys need to not go up in points. I'm putting them both right here because nothing hugely changed for them. They're basically kind of what they are. They're doing the same stuff. I think Morbidex got weaker personally, but as long as they're still staying about what they are, it's fine. I think they're at 280 right now. Morbidex. 270 for Morbidex. And I believe Orgots is still 280. I think they'll still be very good at that point. If they go higher, it's going to be a shame. I don't think they can. But they're still good options. There is a list I was thinking of that has 2 Megathords and then both the Demon Princes. I think it could be a fun brawler list. Bloab got better. He was honestly terrible. He got better. He has a rampage for -1 attacks to monsters. It's either attacks or damage. I believe it's attacks, though. Yep, -1 attacks. And his spell is the main reason you're going to take him now. It's very easy to make him +2 to cast. And this spell is just frothing mucus on a spell. It's amazing. You can cast it on one turn, and then you can countercast on the next one. Still at +1 because of Rodriguez. I think he's probably going to go back into the best Magathlord spot. And I'm going to put him here. He can't get too expensive. He can go to probably like 320 and still be good in most lists. He's not going to make every list. But I think he's probably the best support Magathlord right now. Well worth using. Harbinger. He lost his once per game ability, but he gained a -1 to wound in your hero phase. It's 18 inches, I believe it's a D3. Yeah, it's a D3 against their control score. But if they're within 6 of a knight, it's D6. He's a good priest. He's still heavily armored. He'll take enhancements pretty well. The main problem is, unless you're going double priest, which isn't as good with the new spell lore, he gets edged out by the next person in the circle. But he is still your best second priest. He's at 150 right now. If he stays at 150, excellent. If he goes up, it's a shame. I think he'll be right here. He's strong. He's good. I like him. Still run them in quite a few of my list. Belga. Belga's just going right here. I believe if this guy is near 150 points, which they should be, maybe 170 at the high end, that this will be probably the best new support unit in the book. They have a chant that lets you bring back Plague Bearers, which is fine and annoying. They're mostly going to be there to get up prayer points and give +1 to cast or +1 to chant to everything around them. My main list I've been practicing with is Rodriguez, Glotkin, and her. Having both the Rodriguez and Glotkin at +2 to cast feels oppressive, and I see why people like to play Zeech now, because my spells just go off, and their opponent can't do anything about it. In fact, I'm in the middle of kit bashing a Kronspine now, because that's just going to be the speller I take, because I can cast it at +2, and there's nothing my opponent can say about it. It's very strong. It's good. Her prayer is good. The prayer lore, the new prayer lore, is less good than I was hoping it would be, I'll be honest. But as long as we have the soggy prayer lore, she's a monster. Put her in every list. Especially if she's cheap. If she's near 150, excellent. Alright. We'll do our next two here. Fellhoof is our other caster. Or chanter, sorry, priest. They dropped the ball on him, I feel. They're not good. Him and the Pestigore package. If the Pestigore package is dirt cheap, maybe. Oh, this is not going to let me search him. Hoof. Yep, Shaman Fellhoof. It's okay. The -1 to rend is nice. But, oh, it's a caster, not a chanter. I'm sorry, it's a caster. Oh. That does make him a little better, actually. So he is another foot option. Huh. I thought he was a priest this whole time. You know, the word shaman. I'm going to have to look at this guy again, actually. Because I was grading him as if he was a priest. The fact that he's a shaman is different. Pest scores, I think, are still... They're not going to be good. I don't think they're good. They're going to need to be really cheap. And if they are, you got to find an argument to bring them over Plague Bearers. Because I think I'd rather have Plague Bearers than these. Although 2 attacks. And +1 attacks. I think that they're a side grade to Plague Bearers. I don't think that they're better. But it's definitely... They're doing the same job. You bring one or the other. That's interesting. I thought he was a priest. My mistake. These are still going here. I still think they're bad unless they're extremely cheap. I'm going to put them there. And this guy is another footcaster option, which has a good, unique spell. If he's anywhere near the sorcerer, I think he's just going to be another option for this. And he might honestly be taking more than this. Yeah. Well, that was wrong. I missed a bit of prep. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to test that. That's interesting. I didn't see that. Alright. We've got 2 models left. Pox Wretches and Festus. I'm going to do my favorite one of the new units first. The Pox Wretches. Fodder unit. A good number of attacks. There are 14 models in a unit, and you can make them to 3 attacks each very easily with the passives. They'll do some decent damage. Not a lot. It is still no rend. Their main ability is they give disease out of sequence. So they'll use the Kelpies to give you disease. And then the next turn, if something kills them, they'll give something else disease with the 3-up, with the passive. It's been my favorite screen so far. I think they're going to be about as expensive as Plague Bearers, Maybe a little more, just because of their disease-giving ability. I've been valuing them at like, what, 150, I think? Yeah, 150 for a brick of 10, or a brick of 14, which I think would be fair. If it's too much higher, I don't think they'll see much play. If it's cheaper, they made a mistake. I think that they're excellent, and I'm putting them right in here. Right behind Rodigus. Above the Rot Swords. A lot of people are going to hate that. But here's the thing. Pox Reppers are going to be cheaper. They have to be. Rot Swords are good in a Rot Swords list. I think you can fit a unit of Pox Wretches into every single Nurgle list, points depending, and it will serve you well just as a screen that you want them to engage and get diseased. You can run them up, sack them into something, let them die, and then suddenly 3-up disease, and then you can spread the disease from there. It's a different trigger. I think that they're going to be the most versatile and used unit in this book. I praise them very highly. Next is Festus. And I think that everybody is kind of the same mind that Festus looks amazing, and we want Festus to work. And I'll be honest, I need to test with him more, because he's kind of been a bucket of nothing. He can auto-kill war machines, which is fun. Late game, you can probably kill a hero or a monster or do damage to them, a good bit of damage to them. But the thing is, you need to set up to that. You need to get all these leech tokens. Casting a spell means you need somebody with an 18, so it's not going to be turn 1. Turn 2, maybe. Unless you do Spell Portal, which... yeah, you could. If you wanted to go all in on Spellfest, just take Spell Portal, Rodigus, and Belga. Make him +2 to cast. Yeah, that'd work, actually. That'd be funny. Good? No. Funny? Yes. But, yeah, the thing is, he needs to kill things to get D3 leech points, which is fine. His profile is decent. It's not bad. The biggest thing for this guy is going to be the points. And I don't know his points. Nobody does yet. I don't remember what the leak put him at. What did I put him at? Festus. I put him between 380 and 400. I don't know what I was thinking when I said that. Ignore that. This guy should be a little more than a Maggotkin. This guy should be low 300s. If this guy is like 330, 340, I think he'll be worth going, and I think it'll be worth using. If he's more expensive than that, I don't think he's going to make lists. I think he's better than my Maggotkin. I think if like him and Blob are the same points, it's a fight between which one you take. If he's a little bit more expensive, I think you'd probably want Blowweb. But I don't know. This guy needs a lot more testing than I've done with him. He needs to be cheap. I just wish that the leech points were a little bit easier to get. I'm going to put him at good needs good points, but I'm going to put him above the Maggotkin. Yeah. I think he's not a bad scroll, but he needs to be cheap. He can't be expensive. And it's really just the rule of cool. If you're bringing him, you're bringing him because you like him. You can make him work. And he's one of those models that if your games are going to turn 5, and there's still a good bit of stuff alive, and he's alive, and you've been able to build those leech points, he's going to be able to run into a monster and do a ton of mortal wounds. But the thing is, the game has to progress to that point. And it has to be relevant at that point. So, I don't know. He feels like something that'd be good in another army. Because most of the time by that turn 5, we've killed most of our opponent's key things with disease and other damages. I really want him to be better. I don't think he's bad, but like, better. The plus control shenanigans, though, isn't to be overlooked. It's a lot of control. But yeah, that's about where I think things are. I'll probably go through, look at this again. I don't think I might make another video. If you guys want me to make one, I will. But I don't know. When we get the actual points, I mean. I've been practicing a fair bit. Haven't gotten as many games as I want. I think I've only gotten 9 games so far. But, yeah. Love the new book. Love how everything's going. And I'll see all you guys later. Have a good day.